Well, I just want to show you this. I bought this, another Terrapro, for $200, and it's a piece of junk. We got flat tires everywhere, but I really want to show you that the previous owner tried to restore it and caught it on fire, and you can see where all it melted. If you come over here, you'll see all the melted wires, everything is charred, and all right here. And the carb was crap. So I went out on a limb and I bought on Amazon for $45 a Yamaha. I'll put it in the link below. Yamaha Warrior 350 Universal Carb, and wouldn't you believe it, man? It fires right on up and idles great. Of course, it doesn't have all the extra. You'll notice like this pipe is missing. It's a vent. There's a double vent here, and there is a pipe that goes down into this. See the black stopper? I had to plug that up, and I think the original one also has one coming off there. Yeah, it's missing a lot of those parts, but it still runs, idles, and revs up just great. And it's even missing the throttle linkage that comes off the top. And I was halfway switching the tops out, and it was going well. And then I realized I hit the I plugged in the governor into the side. And then so the governor actuates it. Here's the governor. But then when I hit the throttle, it also pulls it. So it's like, why do I even need the one on top? It's like redundant. So I realized I tested it without switching that over. And here's the throttle cable. It's non-connected. And it runs and idles and operates off the thumb trigger. Perfect. So I'm gonna keep testing it, but I just want to let everybody know that if you need a new carburetor for your Yamaha Terrapro, because they don't make them anymore, it's $45 on Amazon, and it's 2 bolts, and it actually has its own choke right here that comes off the side, and it operated great. But I put the original choke back in. But I can't really test it because my thing's all jacked up. But it's like 50 degrees out here, and it starts without choke just fine. Also, while I have this all taken apart, the safety mechanisms were working properly in here. But I went ahead and tested something that I thought was the real deal. Right here is the linkage between, I guess that puts it in high and low, and it goes all the way through to a sensor. And I twisted the wires, grounding the sensor, and that has bypassed every safety feature on here. So now I can do high, low, high with the diff lock, high with PTOs, and the governor activated. And I tested it, and it worked fine. I didn't want to test too much. I spun this up, and a cloud of dust was going toward my unfiltered carburetor, so I had to turn it off. And so there it is, guys. $45. That carb works, fires right on up. You don't have to do the top one. All you have to do is the one that connects to the governor. And I don't know how, but it's somehow synced into there, and they both operate it. I need to do more testing, obviously, and I mainly bought it because the original carb, the accelerator pump diaphragm had melted. Everything else was melted. I couldn't get the idle jet pulled out or whatnot. I finally was able to scrape it and clean it with needles, but I'm sure my original carb can probably steal these items off there. Also, this black wall that protected the linkage, it was all melted. In the new carb, let me show you, because it came with, and those of y'all that have had to let's see if this will focus. These were the screws that I had to take out of this thing, and of course I had to use those clasping wrenches to pull it off. But the new kit came, the $45 came with all new jets, all new screws. There's another jet, needle, a brand new sidewall case, gaskets, and here's the original carb. Oh, you know what? I need to steal. See the see that that's the idle adjust. I need to actually steal that off there. The new carb has it, but it's just at the very base right there is where the thumb screws. This has a nice remote thing. But then again, once you have the idle set, it should never have to mess with it forever. So here's the original one. See this pipe? All three of these tubes are not on the new one. This air filter thing is not on, or air evaporator is not on the new one. The inside looks a little bit different, but anyways, I'm sure someone out there was wondering, and man, I went and spent the $45 and figured it out, and it works just fine. So ladies and gentlemen, that's how you fix your Yamaha Terrapro. Now this thing's a piece of garbage, but it's nice to have a nice pristine one I can use and mow, and this one is a backup that I can just go mudding and thrash and still mow. Now this one did not come with a mower, but I've got the person's phone number that who I bought it from, and there's a chance maybe it's sitting out in the field and they don't know what it is or whatnot. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I'm sure someone was wondering if they could put a Yamaha 350 carb on there, and yeah, you can. And then take off your air filter and twist those two wires together on that plug, and you can run all this, bypass all the stupid safety craps. All right, folks, till next time, I'll see you later. Okay, this is a follow-up after about a day or two of driving the Warrior 350. It's either that or Moto 4 350 carb. So far everything is still good. Man, I plugged in that choke, but it doesn't really need it. 2 taps to the throttle, and it almost kind of seems like it has an auto choke to it. It doesn't, but it seems like it does. So far everything's good on it. It seems though when you're full throttling it, it might be too rich. I saw some puffs of black smoke come out every now and then, and I want to say that's a too rich environment. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you buy this carb from Amazon off the link I send you, there's going to be 2 things wrong with it, and they're both simple fixes. One is that it would keep flooding the float bowl. It would run for a few minutes. I'd turn it off, and then about after 60 seconds, it would start pumping out fuel. And to fix that, I had to take the bowl off and reset the float bowl or whatever. What you have to do is you have to bend the tab so that it fills up quicker. And then that solved that problem. So far, I have not had any more leaks since that. And then second, seemed to be running a little rich, so I dialed in the whatever screw, pilot screw, and it was 2 3/4 turn out. The stock setting from the service manual says that our pilot jet is 1 turn out. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what the service manual said, and I set it to that, and didn't really seem like it changed too much, even though that was almost 1 3/4 turn in. No, it did seem like it stopped smoking so much, like it was running so rich, but it almost kind of seems like it needs to be turned in a little bit more. But that's also, we're in Texas right now, and it's December 8th, and it's 50-something degrees outside. So real quick on this, and somebody else can probably help me out with this. Remember how this thing, this top cap is different. The other one has the plunger that goes on in there. But then when I hit the governor, it cranks that. And when I hit the governor, it cranks this. And I was like, man, why even have a second line going into the top if it's just like double redundancy? And then I looked on I was ordering some parts for this. I looked on the manual, and this and the governor cable go into, and that might be it right there, go into a Y splitter so that they're connected permanently. So, I mean, whatever. I think what I'll do is I'll disconnect this from the Y and save it for that rainy day that I want to go back to the old carb. But as of right now, I don't need it. Now, I want to do one more test. I want to take my carb, the pilot jet or something, one of those screws. It was stuck in there so much that when I tried to remove it with a little tiny screwdriver, it messed up the threads, and I'm gonna have to get like a reverse drill to pull out that jet. And of course, it is so tiny. I don't know if they even make those that small, but I was able to clean that out. So I think my old carb will work right now, except for a few things. For example, my carb was damaged in a previous fire from the previous tenant, and this accelerator pump, that white piece of plastic right there, it's like an accelerator pump diaphragm or something, that was all melted and corroded on the other one. So my question is, can I take that piece, several other pieces off of this one, put them on the original Mikuni carb, and then see if they match up with size and shape, and see if it'll bring the original OEM to life? Because if we can all buy these $45 carbs and use the parts out of there to keep our impossibly hard to find original OEM carbs alive, man, that's cheap. 45 bucks. So I'll do that sometime soon. I want to keep testing this carb out a little bit more, and then I'll tear into this carb, rob all the pieces off it, and put them in the original carb, and then we'll see if that runs. But as of right now, I'm still kind of testing it and making sure everything looks good in here. But I just want to let you guys know. Oh, and this one had a lot of problems. Real quick. So I bought this one from a guy. I got this for $200, and it was a piece of crap, and it was half burnt. Look at the melty lid. But so I tried to. Remember that little switch down there? There it is, right there. All the wires that are twisted together. I thought that would bypass all of the safeties. Well, it did with the diff lock, it did with the PTO, and it probably does it with the trailer and stuff like that, but I don't know. But it didn't do it with this. Every time I'd push the PTO up, it would still safety cut kill everything. So what I did was I just, on the back side of that, there's a wire going to it, took it off and grounded it to the wire next to it, completing the circuit, and then now it works. It'll go up and down, and it'll activate the PTO with no problem. So I had to do that. I thought that one switch would be a bypass to make everything work, but it turns out I still have to bypass this one. And then this one also would not click into place when it went all the way up. And I undid these screws, and I pulled out the little spring stopper, and there's a little nub at the end of it, and mine was completely worn off. It was flat. So I ordered a new one. It was like $12, which is great. But in the meantime, to fix it, I just got a piece of I can't do it two-handed. I got a piece of my welder and just made a nub at the end of it, and now it clicks into place. There it goes. It won't last for long though, and I'm afraid if that piece of weld breaks, it's gonna get stuck in there and I have to dissect it all too. I couldn't find an OEM choke switch, so I ordered just a generic one offline. We'll see if that works. Other than that, all the cables are still pretty tight. I've sprayed spray down them. For a $200 machine, I've got it all sorted out. It took from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. working straight on this, changing all the fluids, fixing all the stuff that was back there. I just took all these wheels off and had to put them back on because he put the previous owner had these wheel spacers on the inside against the brake drum and just bending and not doing anything. They need to be on this outside to support it. So I just did that. I ordered new front tires. That was $50 each. Kind of expensive. I have not messed with the safety switch there for the trailer. I do need a front light bulb. I'm going to go in today and try and find a light bulb and a battery box cover because I stole this one off the other Yamaha. So the Warrior 350 Moto 4 Carb day 2 is still doing good. Start here. Let me start it up for you. Let you just see what it's like. And if it has a little bit of trouble starting, all I do is tap the throttle. Man, she fires right on up. Yep. There she goes. $200. Great. The sub transmission, when I changed that fluid in there, it was milky, like water had got in. And now that I'm looking right here, I think I see where the water got in from. Remind me to order another tube. Let's try starting again. Sometimes it'll start really good. You know, it's because I need to push the gas a tap. Watch. That's it. That's all I had for you. Just wanted to update you on the carburetor, how that cheapo Amazon part made it fire right on up. Because I know that a lot of y'all have trouble finding it, or everybody's complaining, or pilot jets are stuck, just like mine. So, man, it's 2 bolts. Once you take the tank off, the cover and the tank and the seat and the airbox, it's just those 2 bolts, and she comes right on out. Well, you got the throttle cables and stuff, but. Don't feel like it's too much work. It really wasn't that bad. In fact, when I take it out to film me chopping it up into the other carb, maybe I'll do a tutorial on how to take the carb out. All right, YouTube. Thanks again. See you later.